Sorry. We're gonna call the meeting to order. All right, we gotta call the meeting in order, right, Ted? Sorry, folks. So it is what, 10:01? 10 o'clock even. 10 o'clock even, very good. And so I'd like to do the roll call at this time. So trustee Caspero? Here. Trustee Lochner? Here. Trustee Beakley? Here. We have Dave Burnett as a non-voting member, and Administrator Wells and Public Works Supervisor Revelant. Okay, so at this time we have the opportunity for public comment. Dave, we're going to cover your correspondence in the course of the meeting. So I'd like to recognize, and if you just state your name.
Yeah, Armin Tobes and my wife Juanita. And is it appropriate now?
Sure, yeah. Yes.
Okay. We are some of the oldest residents of Hunt Plateau. We moved here in 1978. And one of the frustrations was we were told that the village is all private property. And so we had, for example, in 2008, we had 130 inches of snow. I mean, that's like that much. And I'm out there with my little garden tractor, blowing. Our neighbor was out, between the two of us, we were able to keep it open. I know Dr. McKelly, and there was so much snow, it was higher than her mailbox. And now I'm coming to find out that because of the right of way, the village has stepped in and paid part of it, and the private part of it going north is also. And Jenny Larson was the one who coordinated it. They lived down the road a little bit on the road. She did a fabulous job. She worked with the village. She got a contract and they paid it about a week ago. And it's just an excellent job. And I want to compliment Jenny, publicly compliment Jenny for doing such a good job. And it's like driving the road. I mean, this is what it looked like before: potholes, water, cracks. And now it's just we're like heaven. So I just wanted to compliment Jenny and also the village for doing what they did to help make that possible.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out.
And I used to work for this guy Johnson. I was
Yeah, that seems like a lifetime ago.
So
But it's good to see you.
yeah. Any questions or anything?
No, thank you very much for coming out today. Appreciate it.
Do we have anyone online from a public comment standpoint?
I don't think so, right?
No.
Okay. So I think what we're going to do is review the minutes of the July 3rd meeting and see if there are any comments or corrections to that. Otherwise, we motion to approve them. Anyone have any comments or? Then I'd make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from July 3rd, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So the motion carries. And then we'll move into Scott's Public Works report.
Okay, I'll make it quick. Just so everybody knows, the PSC report was filed by its due date. And we have a rate increase going on in the moment, or it is done either way. There are a lot of errors on it that we need to figure out and adjust, and it's been that way for 10 years plus. So they just kept copy and pasting and regurgitating the same information, and it's not correct. So it's going to take a huge undertaking to rectify all those issues. Part of it being the age of the mains, the replacement of the mains for notification purposes and for invoicing the public and the private fire protection allocations. Those are all wrong. So those need to be redone. So we don't really know right now based on whether we've been losing money or we need to pay back money. So that's what the PSC wants us to figure out. So that is going to be a huge deal too. So we need to replace all of it, or we need to redo all this stuff. Just making you all aware. So it's going to be a big deal.
Comment you made, you stated that, the last 10 years, it's just been cut and paste, and that's, you're talking from an administrative standpoint as far as the filing or how they've processed it or what?
Who writes out the report, whoever's been in charge of doing that.
Public Works or whoever.
Yeah, a Public Works or, administrator at some point or whatever the case may be.
The point is that we really do need to be proactive. We really do need to stay on top of it. And you're addressing it. We're
Yeah,
not sweeping it under. We can't
Correct.
anymore. We
And
need to move
from what I
forward.
understand, talking to the PSC, it's basically in the annual, because they deal with so many,
Mhm.
utilities over the course of the Wisconsin, state of Wisconsin, that when they get the filings, they make sure they get them in by the due date. And then once they get them, they just take them and they go like this and they put them on the shelf. They don't really check them over and double check. The only time they do that is when you ask for a rate increase. Then they go through your annual reports line by line by line, and then they look for the discrepancies or the errors, and then they make you aware of them.
And so that's where
So
we're at
since we
today.
haven't done a rate increase in a really long time, that's why it's been so long since that these errors have been continuing.
So how does this impact the village from the standpoint of with you having to do the corrections? The potential 4 mile project, and I mean, it shouldn't, because that would be. Sounds like
That would be a Travis or an Ellers or auditor question.
So there's nothing really concerning that's gonna stop the process from continuing for the road. The like.
As the monetary part of it goes, that won't be on me, that would be on Travis, or is that Luke, what is it? Luke? No,
Oh, the auditors?
yeah.
Yeah, the auditors will have a big hand in this.
Yeah, they don't.
okay.
Yeah, they don't. And
So-
they've caught a lot of the stuff, and the PSC has caught a lot of the stuff, so, and made us aware, obviously. so.
And there's probably ways to hire a private firm to come in and just kind of inventory everything. You could probably get someone to do a water master plan right now and just fix everything as well. From the neglect of previous boards and administrations from the past, I haven't kind of dove into this and hired appropriate firms.
Agreed.
So then you would
And
come
we're-
forward
we're-
with the recommendation at that time. Because
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
But honestly, as far as a private firm goes and paying them, they're gonna be asking and requiring the same information that we're gonna be looking for.
Right.
So then they would just basically ask us to look for it and provide it for them, and it would take our time too, so.
So
It's a winter project, put it that way.
when Mike left Hawes, and he put together a book, on this is the year of an administrator. Quick question, or have you had time? I know you've been so busy to sort of update pages in there, or
There's updates and notes in there, but I mean, at the end of the day, it seems like the PSC report was never filed right to begin with. And there's laterals and there's raw information on private versus public fire hydrants. So
Throughout the whole thing.
whoever is doing it, we could be owing back pay for years and years and years because someone didn't do it right. So
Could you explain that? What does that mean?
there's go ahead.
Okay, so there's a separation, there's a public fire protection and then there's a private fire protection. The public fire protection, basically fire protection it allows for you to have the monies to pay for the capacity in your system to allow to fight fires. So if, I don't want to say, but if somebody down the street should happen to have a fire and they need to open up a hydrant, the hydrant needs to work. They need to have the capacity to run through the fire engines, to put out the fire. And by that, they don't want somebody 4 houses or a block away to all of a sudden lose pressure because they're putting out a fire a block away and now they can't use their water anymore. You have to be able to equalize it. So it's a general form across the board to be able to allow that to work. And then the public fire protection fee is basically for every homeowner, and the rate is based on the size of their meter. It's a flat charge that's not regulated by us, it's regulated by the PSC. They're the ones that determine the rate, not us. So based on the public fire protection is private or the residents that have a meter, whatever their size is, they're charged. The privates part of it is your residents that have sprinkler systems. And that would be a separated plumbing situation where that plumbing would break off of your original service coming in, and it would go to a sprinkler system, and that would be unmetered. So nobody would have an idea as to how much you were using, because you're not using it. Well, hopefully ever, but you're never using it. So that rate is based on the size of the service that is providing for that private fire protection. So if you have a sprinkler system, this would be for commercial and for
This is a residential.
Residential.
We're not talking about outdoor sprinklers.
no, yeah,
Just
indoors,
clarifying.
yeah,
Yeah,
like the ones that
so-
put out fires, yeah. And then it would be if, like, for instance, commercial property had a fire hydrant on their premises, that would be a private fire protection. So the fire engine could hook up to that hydrant to put out that fire. There's all different kinds of examples, so.
Where does the potential back liability that I think I've heard you mention come from, or what does that really amount to? And
It'll be something the auditors will have to look into after we dive more deep into this. So,
Yeah.
and see if there's actually any corrections that need to be made, or if they just added some of the meters together to make it what it is on the sheet now. I don't know. They're still, Scott's diving deep into it, but the auditors are aware.
Guess as to what the impact would be. It's just, you don't know.
What are the discrepancies?
The discrepancy that I was told directly by Amanda from the PSC basically said the monies that we're collecting does not coincide with the number of units that we're designating as private or public fire protection. So they're just not, we have to figure out, is the monetary amount that's added up and summed up from this wrong here, which probably not. Or is it the designation of where those and who has those that is wrong? And the number we have is not relating to the amount that we have.
What are the units you're talking about?
A unit would be considered like a private residence. Your house would have a 3/4 inch meter. That would be one unit. If you had a sprinkler system in your home that was separate from your water, from
Fire
your
suppression.
fire suppression, then that would be a unit. Then you would have two. So your typical residence does not have two. They only have one. There's only a handful that have two. It's mostly commercial.
So how
And
do
some
you-
of our commercials have a lot of those type, a lot of buildings, a lot of different kinds of stuff. So that all has to be figured out.
So how do you get your arms around that? How do you get that inventory?
Walking it, literally going into each, well, not necessarily house by house, but maybe double checking some of the ones that say they have suppression and making sure that they actually do. And that it's not that they don't have it,
Would Caledonia Fire have that? Because don't they have to check those systems every couple of years?
They do have to check them.
Speed along the process of you figuring out who's got what, maybe?
They do, they might, based on checking of the cross connection devices that they have. We have those records too
Okay.
for cross connection devices. Unfortunately, those are not very accurate either. So it's you keep going down the line for double checking, but it seems to be that when you go to another intangible, those aren't necessarily quite as accurate either. So I'm not necessarily, if we're going to do this and we need to do it right, I'm going to make sure that every step of the way that we make sure that every step is detailed and correct and not just assume that it is. So
Have any idea how long in hours this might take?
that I don't know.
I've asked some other administrators on their opinion on this. They really recommend just hiring someone to
That's where I was coming from.
Well,
it's just to fix the whole report, and have someone come in and just do the inventory, because it takes a lot of time. And what I've heard from others is that it just would be nice if you had someone really hands-on focused for a couple weeks or months that can just have an outside group come in and just get it done.
Isn't interrupted.
So what we've also, those of us who've now been on the board, you and I, about 3 years and change now, is coming to light with having your group here, and I'm not disparaging former boards, there were talented people all along the way, but I'm sure there were groups that trusted the administrator knew everything, and no offense, there's just too
This
much.
goes back to before we even had it.
Exactly, there's just too, there's just,
Yeah, we
there's
didn't
just,
have an administrator till like 2009.
yeah, there's just too much to know. Everybody thought, hey, this, you just wake up,
So
and
you
you
had Randy
send out
Stokes.
bills, and you get bills in, you fix roads or you don't fix roads, and are they private or public? I think I mentioned this to you in the last couple of weeks, just real quick, I didn't make a big point, but I think we are now at a point where your book from Mike, we probably need as a village to have somebody, we can talk about the auditor at least for the PFC, but maybe as a consultant to come in who can catalog what you do and what you do and what Monica does, so that when we have turnover in this place, it doesn't crater. You know, that you can pass on what you're figuring out, you know, and I'm not saying that has to be you because you've got enough, but do we bring in a consultant and you go, okay, here's what I do on a daily basis. Oh, and by the way, here's the 3 or 4 things that have scared the heck out of the board since I've been here that we also need to work in, and my successor needs to know this. And,
New board members don't know what they don't know.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
start learning things for at least a year.
Is there a process where we can build in like oversight, we know what's required, so.
That's what I'm getting at, yeah.
Yeah, so for each board meeting, we would know what's due and make sure that it's done.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
But that's the inventory idea.
that's, but
But we're finding, just so
You're
you know,
finding
we're
things.
finding out this stuff based off of stuff that's required by the
sure,
state.
sure.
Yeah.
We're not even
Notifications
talking
that we're
about
gonna
just
find.
day-to-day stuff that we're not obligated to notify the DNR or the
Oh, yeah.
Department of Revenue or anything like that, right? There's all those other little things that we'll find out. And unfortunately, with the reports that we have to file, they're once a year.
Yeah, I get it.
Or in this case, with the rate increase, it's when you want to. So you don't really know until you know, right? I would have never known that that the report was that far off
Well, and, like,
until
Our reports for the
Travis decided to do a rate increase.
Department of Revenue, we have like emails that get sent to us like every day on when a month, like things are coming that are due. And so it's like, you just have to hire competent people at the end of the day. That's your job to hire people that you know are gonna
Well,
go
I
through
think
this.
you're right, so to get especially if you gotta go door to door. Yeah, if you're just gonna do an audit of every property,
Yeah,
hire somebody, you know, at $15 an hour to go door to door like the assessor does. And say, do you got one or not? You got one or not? And then you build the database there and then you're done. You know, rather than say, you don't want to assume, you know, that somebody said they had it, somebody didn't say they had it. If you really got to go door to door, you don't have time for that.
No.
Tom doesn't have time for that.
No.
You know, so that's what you hire
Yeah.
you're not hiring somebody at $30,000 a week. You're hiring, you know, somebody with a
Yeah.
clipboard and a list of addresses and names and going, okay, you got a private, you got a fire suppression system in the house or no? Yes or no?
That would be a good project for.
Some are,
Can we refer that back for, just a consideration?
I'll look into what kind of contractors are out there
Yeah.
for
I mean,
stuff
that's what you're hearing
to
from
get.
other administrators.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so I'll have to dive deeper
And I think-
more.
What we all recognize is we're in the 21st century and we're trying very hard to get ahead of the game. And
Yeah, again, until.
We need this
Until they have to
information.
do
We need to
something,
do it
the state goes, oh, by the way, you forgot to file this, or you've been filing it wrong, how does anybody know? And how do we know we're so small?
Well, yeah, and to Scott's point, I mean, it doesn't really happen until you do a water case.
Correct.
And so
But we're
And,
planning on additional, reviews.
there are,
so-
yeah. And so, I mean,
So
at the
it's
end of the
important.
day, there's another municipality in our county, and I've told by Ellers and Dan, who's our auditor, and said that there are worse municipalities than us. There are far worse ones. He said this is like the easiest one Ellers has had to deal with, and that our auditors has to deal with. So if you think it's bad, it's not bad at the end of the world, but it's every municipality is facing some sort of issues, and
Sure.
water issues aren't cheap in Wisconsin or anywhere right now. So at the end of the day, it's just
How often does
Fixing
this report require
Every year.
every year?
Yeah, every year it's due by June 30th or May 30th, one of the two,
so.
that it's required to do. But it's a joint effort. It's not, there's a lot involved. There's the operations, the mechanicals, and then there's the financial. There's a lot that goes into the report that you have to do. You have to basically, report to the state, what's coming in, what's going out, money, savings, all that stuff. So.
We should probably move on to the rest of your report, but I
Yeah.
think what we've decided or asked for is that you give consideration to a third party oversight of this or involvement in this
And
to
also-
accelerate it and keep it going.
And also for the entire village, like I said, something
Yeah.
so that when you talented folks leave and let's say, hey, we've all been in on hiring and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And we get the next group that interviews real well and doesn't sits on their hands the whole time. At least you can go, hey, and board chairs then maybe, like me or like you and your board, you can go, okay, hey, was this done this month? And then you can hand that down to the next trustees and you can hand it down to the next people, so on and so forth.
I see how from the Public Works Committee basis, we can enable what we're talking about, which is just one piece of a bigger puzzle.
Yeah.
What would be your recommendation to get that to is it a board issue, the broader thing, if in fact we
It
think
would
that's a
be a broader
priority?
thing, it would be Travis and Scott and Monica saying, okay, well, again, they've got a lot they're dealing with, but when they can carve out some time, this is how I would work on my suggestion, your suggestion.
But they would need to bring that to the board.
Yeah,
It's not a committee issue.
because I'm sure unless we, we're probably stretching them as thin as they can anyway. If
Understand.
they did it, we might have to go to them and say, okay, we're willing to pay you overtime to do this. Scott might have his foot up doing football games going, all right, I can put my job together and we pay Scott overtime. Or Scott might go, I don't want any part of it, but I'll help the consultant while I'm working and you pay just like we got the GIS people coming in different but similar, you're finding what all needs to be done and you're cataloging it.
So I guess, and I agree with all that. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what is the appropriate venue for that discussion?
Probably, since it's money orientated, bringing it up at PFIC and also has personnel in there from the standpoint of who does what jobs. So bring it to our committee, then we'll follow it up. to the
I'm
board.
certainly not trying to minimize it. I want to get the public works.
I got
things.
you, no, I got
But,
you.
I think that's a valid issue, right? And if we just say it here, it's not.
Because it's scary, every meeting I come to, and you come to, these guys tell you something that you had no idea was going on.
Who knew?
And
Okay.
It's just scary.
Anyway, Scott, what else you got for us?
So, just so you're aware, I brought some stuff. Thank you. So just want to let you know that the first phase of the hydrant flushing that is required by the DNR. It's part of our sanitary sewer report that we need to do and we need to have, and I have that, but I'll go into that later. Some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. But just so you're aware, the highlighted portions of, this is just for 2025. We have to take a certain section of the village and flush those hydrants to bring in better water quality. It checks the hydrants to make sure they're operating properly and make sure they're ready, that they provide enough fire flow for in case there is a fire. So we go through all these and do it. And I just want to let you know that the highlighted ones are the ones that are broke, that need to be repaired because they do not operate and do not fulfill their requirements, whatever they may be, fire flow, shut off, turn, anything like that. So these are all the ones that do it. And then just so you know, so you can put kind of some context into each one of those. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
At least 12, I count.
Yeah. And, we do these yearly. So and they're just gonna, it's not like they're gonna be less. They're just gonna keep adding to it. This is a bill that I just happened to receive today. This is just the itemized invoice amount for 2 of those hydrants for material to be repaired. It's 14,000, how much?
459. 2 of the 12.
2 of them.
And
That's just material for 2 of those to be replaced, and that does not count the contractor. That will probably be somewhere in the range of 7 to 9 to replace those
What's the
per
scope of-
hydrant.
What's the scope of the work?
So you would, as the contractor will dig down and he will cut off the hydrant down at the water main where it's connected. And then they will put together the brand new one and attach it with a mega lug. It's basically gasketed seal. And then they will push it together and then they will bury it back up and
So that's
we're good to go.
$90,000 plus 7 to 9. That's $180,000 on off the top of my head to fix that with labor and parts. That is nowhere in any of our budgets.
Correct.
I mean,
And again, these are these are hydrants, so it's not like I can let them go.
Yeah, the PSC.
Well, that and, you know,
Well,
God
even the
forbid
fact
if.
that it says they won't shut off, I mean, are they open now?
So currently, that was my next point. We do have two of them that are water incidents that the contractor will be here on Monday to repair one. That one is on Raven Turn on the dead end. That one will not shut off, so it's been running for a week. So we're getting water loss with that too, and that's adding to our water loss disparity that we have. And the other one is at 4503 Main Street. And you'll see it has out of service and you'll see the water dripping out of it. So those are two that are getting fixed. One is getting fixed this upcoming Monday on August 11th. The residents have already been notified. And then the other one is going to be done the following Monday after that. We're at the mercy of the contractor and when they can be here to do it.
The address on that, isn't that 336 Deepwood now? Is that where the new house is?
No, this is down the street a little bit. They just had an estate sale this past Saturday.
So the water utility doesn't have the kind of money to pay for that, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a conversation I'll have with Travis later, but it's not, this is not a venue for that.
Let
but-
me know what PFIC because.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But just so you're aware that we have two outstanding that we need to do, and that doesn't include the ones that are highlighted on your
So
sheet.
how do you triage these? Do you prioritize them? Or they all have to get done?
Well, there is some benefit. So some have a gate valve attached to the hydrant, so you can shut down the gate to isolate the hydrant, and it becomes a little bit cheaper in cost for material and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the ones we're doing, when they installed the system and the utility, they didn't install gates. So you can't isolate the hydrant to replace it. So we have to shut down blocks of people in order to achieve that. But when we do it this time, we're gonna do it the right way and we're gonna add a gate to it. So we don't have this issue again, or the person 20 years from now doesn't have this issue.
So we probably need, and this may be PFFC, but we need an assessment of if all this work is done, do we need to get an estimate of what it's gonna be, so you do know the financial impact, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can go off of the invoice here because that's buying inventory. I'll know exactly how much it's gonna cost to buy replacements for all of them. And then I got the estimate from the contractor, you know, that price will go up because he's not gonna finish them all. We wouldn't even attempt to do them this week.
I'm sorry, that's the number you generated.
Right out of my head, yeah. With that, no offense, people sometimes lock onto and consider it's gospel. I'm just trying to get.
Oh,
It's a
order
rough
of
activity.
Order of magnitude.
Order of magnitude, there you go. It's,
All right.
it's not $5.
Yeah, so it's not something that we budget for either. So we didn't budget for that.
Well,
Obviously.
yeah, I mean, again, it's, then you have turnover and it's like, you sit there and you look at projects and then you're like, hey, wait a minute, we got this problem. And you're like,
It's off the radar again.
oh,
Yeah.
now
Works
it's.
back on.
Is this a kind of yearly about 10 fail every year or?
We just started doing it last year. Because
No records, no history.
Because I mean, I'll go into that, but we weren't doing it. So that's part of the problem.
Oh, yeah. you could have-
So when you don't
Probably
do
why they
something
don't.
for a long time and then all of a sudden you start doing it, it's like, you know, yeah, you kind of start messing with it. Things are seized up and
Cause
I don't see any records, maybe Randy in like 2006, 2007.
It's supposed to be done every year.
Yeah, and you're supposed to do the dead ends twice a year for water quality purposes. Otherwise the water just sits there stagnant and it doesn't flow. So you want to keep it going. So yeah, we're supposed to do them twice a year. That's kind of mandated by the state and by the
so
PSC.
we've got water,
Or the DNR,
utility-
sorry.
we're doing water utility capital improvements this year for the water utility, $60,000. Improvements, side hydrants, replacements.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of gone.
Yeah, I
You
get it.
you just wrote the check for the one we did on Parkfield Court
That's
last week, and that was probably just over a third of that already in one installment of that bill for the material and for the contractor.
Yeah.
So it's over 20.
Well, and again, that's the thing
You
you gotta figure out, do we have to borrow the water utility, some of our money that were to the good side this year from the Deepwood sale from the benefactor of the tower, which was slated to be 145. So I guess check with the auditor and see what the legalities.
You can, but we also have that issue of the repayment plan. We already owe the village and the stormwater like $145,000. And that has including interest on it too.
Travis is just full of goodness.
But it's reality. And I'm very thankful that we're uncovering all this.
Very thankful for all.
We signed on for headaches and we're gonna fix them.
Some days.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter
This is
of
what it
where,
is.
what has to go where and where the resources.
I mean, you
money has
probably-
to come from.
I mean, you could just, for next year, as you're doing your water main, you could just borrow the $190,000 already or whatever you said and just get it everything going and just put it into borrow so that you're not impacting the utility anymore. You're not
That's what I-
impacting the
that's what I was
budget.
thinking is, we're gonna be borrowing for.
You might as well just
Lots of
lump,
other
instead of
things.
what it is now, it's like a line of them,
Uh-huh.
just merge them all into one.
Yeah, I got you.
You get a better price if you could bundle this all to a contractor or just say go, or is it?
It's one up, it's the same.
Probably not. I mean, they're doing it by time and material.
Okay, so it's.
So you're really not saving by bulk for the most part. We could bring a, you got run the risk of bringing a bigger contractor with bigger costs. We use GNF at Caledonia and who else who works with, but we use them. They're right around the corner. So we get a pretty good price. 'Cause he's been doing it for us for a long time. So
There's no buy one, get one free.
no, I won't get one.
GNF 30, GNF
Buy one, get one 50% off.
GNF 30 years ago, my dad's. land.
If they did a
Tree line.
now,
Very
like,
fair.
Core and Main or Ferguson Water, if they're, our quantity discount isn't what you think it is. So this quantity that we have to do is nowhere near as like Watasek or Oaks going in there and they're doing a project and they're buying, 150 hydrants and that's a better quantity. And they'll probably get a hat, or a jacket or a t-shirt or something like that.
But it's nice. It's a nice.
It's a nice hat and it's a nice t-shirt, but they're probably not getting that much of a deal either, other than just better response and better, when you need it, we'll make sure it's there for you kind of a thing.
So what other good news do you have?
Yeah, well, I'll wait for the other stuff to address the first point of the agenda. But just on a good note, the John Sue lot that we had temporarily being used to house for the wind event is basically empty. So we had a company come in for tub grinding and took care of all the brush. We were done with that in about 2.5 hours.
That was fast.
What was that cost?
12,000.
No,
I forgot.
for the tub grinder, it's like
No.
$5,000 or
I think it was
$4,000.
like 2,500.
Yeah, something like that, something like that.
Could you just refresh me? What are we?
From that storm in May.
Yes, got it, the storm.
Yeah, from the wind event storm.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, from all the
We took-
municipalities that helped us out.
We took above and beyond everyone's stubs.
We did. We took way above and beyond. We took logs and all kinds of stuff, private trees,
Is that
everything.
what's
So,
stored on Johnson's property?
Yeah.
That they let us too, so.
and then we have wood chips over there. That's pile is basically almost gone. And currently right now, John's Disposal is helping us out by giving us dumpsters, which I'm assuming is at free, at least that's what he told me. That he's providing the dumpsters and we're getting rid of the logs because we couldn't put those through and nobody wants pine logs. A lot of the trees that were down were pine trees and nobody
So they're
wants those
helping us out
logs.
on that front.
Yeah, we've already had 3 dumpsters switched out already, 3 40-yard
What are
dumpsters
you
switched
doing
out.
with
Goes in the landfill.
that?
Yeah.
I guess you don't want to burn that for the Chris.
Oh my gosh. Well, I got many phone calls from those residents on John Sue that were concerned about fireworks and the dryness of the limbs and the logs and going up in flames and everything else. So, yeah, no, but actually the breakdown, how they do it in the landfill, there's like layers and they utilize the yard waste to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
break
Because they're
down
gonna
and
have the
compost the garbage.
all the bacteria. You're right,
There's a science to it.
there is a science to it, so yeah, that's.
They
probably
actually
why
want it, but
They probably want it,
not for free. They
but.
they can pay for it.
I'll tell you what, they've been great to us, they only go with cost of living adjustments.
John's?
Contract, John's,
Yeah.
they've been really good to us.
Yeah.
We're really lucky. Good
Um,
contractors.
And then the other one that I have is just so you're aware, at 242, and this is like something that doesn't happen and probably will never happen, but you're dealing with it now. There's a resident on Maribor that is drilling a well, and they have water supplied to their house, but we don't have anything in our code that says you're not allowed to do that.
Is that the Blue House?
I don't know, 242 Maribor.
It's one of my neighbors, because I'm on Terra.
Was that for irrigation purposes? What? Because it can't be.
No, they are putting it in because there's a fear that there'll be an attack on the treated water plant in Racine. So he's preparing.
Is there so there's nothing in the code?
There's nothing in the code preventing somebody from drilling a well and
Does it
having
have to
a
be
well
permitted?
activated that when they are provided treatable water. We don't have anything that prohibits them from doing it. They're allowed to do it. No different than people that had a well before the water came in and they kept the well.
There's not anything in the county or the state that.
Now,
Yep,
DNR
it's-
just requires them to do a.
Yeah, it's the Blue House, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I think the guy came from California and bought it off the longtime owner.
Oh, yeah, that's Shirley's old house.
So,
Yeah,
but
California, I think. and
there's
probably-
just a DNR that requires tests that need to be done and then they need to
So is he gonna
document it
dis-
with
is he
us
gonna
that it's active.
disconnect? Is he gonna disconnect from us?
No,
That he can't connect it to his house?
no, that's illegal because of DNR regulations.
So he's just gonna have it.
So what's he gonna do when they blow up the waterworks and he's gonna run a hose to his house from it?
Probably, it's gonna have a yard. It says it's gonna have a yard hydrant. He's gonna have a
Well, that'd
40,
be nice, yard hydrant, we can all go by, you're pretty close.
Yeah.
he's gonna have,
Know where to get water. That's good.
he's gonna have a 40-foot mud rig there on site. And they're gonna drill 100 feet down. And then they're gonna tap the well in at 100 feet, give or take. So, just so you're aware,
Okay.
they're, they let us know, they let us know what's
You have to
going
get a
on. So,
permit for that?
Probably not.
we don't have anything.
It's not a
saying-
code book.
Yeah.
Does it need to be? I would maintain not.
It's not- no,
I can't imagine anybody's gonna want,
it's not structural.
they're so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not cheap to put a well, it's very expensive.
But if you come from California, you're buying a house for 335, that'd probably be $1.2 million out there. with a
Yeah.
deal, right?
Yeah,
Especially if you still have your same job.
correct.
That door's too closed.
Well, we can't lock it because we
Yeah,
can't,
lock it because-
Are they
yeah.
permitted to come
as long as they're quiet.
If they're for the meeting, that's fine, but,
Alright.
otherwise, it's, the John Sue is a good news, so that's all I got,
That was great.
Alright.
in? So you're done.
I'm done.
For now,
Thanks.
we need to get John back in.
So we're gonna move on to the action items, and the first is a discussion of Dave's email. So Dave, I'll turn it over to you. I see that there
Yeah,
are.
it's just some suggestions that, we probably need to get our hand on what the real issues are to build a long-term plan for these names. So I just suggested, first of all, this sound detection, we should do a two-step check, do it now in the low leakage, we might find some specific spots that are bad, and then you go back in the winter and compare it. And then hire somebody to do a long-term plan that says, these are the areas that need to be fixed in this time frame, rather than just saying, well, let's do this one, and let's do this one. We're kind of just picking them as we go, or as we're gonna do a road, we'll do a water. That's good. You've got the dates of the water install, which is good because it says it's all ductile iron pipe. It's not any World War II crappy spun cast iron. So, there should be nominally, 100 years of life in those systems. So I think the worst thing we do is dig it up and replace it now and we throw 40 years away. Well, we can't afford to do the whole system as it is anyway. We got to have a 30-year plan on the system. So I think we need to hire an engineer to help. R.A. Smith may be the guys to do it. Then you have the capabilities.
So we are gonna tear up, to your point though, we're gonna tear up some good stuff just because we have to get started.
Well,
Anyway.
yeah, but do we have to get started today is before we actually know, is it the right place to start? Maybe we should be doing the corner here. We should be doing, from here around to Fairview.
I do.
That's what we're all here for.
I think we
thoughts.
need
Put our heads
I'd like to
together.
see an engineering study done that actually prioritizes where the bad actors are and when we should start addressing them. Because, it's gonna be a long, drawn out process. There's a lot of money involved. I mean, the water rate increases are gonna be astronomical once we get going on this. I mean, the Ealer's estimate, it's like 200 or 50% increase
Oh,
over
yeah.
the next 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And those are bad numbers. Those are, the numbers almost doubled from that. So, I think we,
I'd be careful with the bad numbers. I take
well,
a
no,
little
that's, I'm
offense
just
to that
saying, they were
because we're
the,
all working as we go
original
along.
numbers, and now we've got better numbers, and
Yeah.
the impact
There
with
you
the
go.
original numbers
Yeah.
was 260%. What's the impact with the new numbers gonna be? It's gonna be 300%, it's gonna be.
Problem is, it doesn't change anything.
I know it
It
doesn't,
doesn't change it.
but so what I'm saying is
No,
do the right stuff first, have a plan.
So Scott, you said you were gonna chime in on this first.
Yeah, so addressing your first question regarding who made the decision for 4 Mile Road, why was that picked first? That question on there in the packet. 4 Mile, just so you know, because I know you weren't here during the first initial process that we were doing, so I'll go over it again. But 4 Mile Road was selected by our previous administrator based on an LRIP grant that we were awarded. So that's why that road was picked, even though it's a
Yeah, I
6 or
understand.
7 and you want to address 4 or 5. So that's why that road was picked. I wasn't here, so I didn't pick it, and Travis wasn't here, he didn't pick it. And the way I was brought up and the way I was trained and the way I had the experience of is that when you put in a brand new road, and that's what we're putting in for 4 Mile Road based on the LRIP project, is that you replace what's underneath and make that good so you don't have the issues, because your intention for the road is to last a long period of time. And I don't think we should wait until the 100 years of life expectancy of the product before we start doing these, because of the fact that we have such a long time that it's going to take to do all these roads, because we're not going to obviously do it every year. That would be fiscally impossible.
And not only that, I mean, this has been reviewed by the board several times.
It has.
We've moved to go forward.
There's also.
Yeah, that's okay, if that's what you want to do.
There's also a lot of the public that comes off that stretch, because that's our.
Well, it's a
stretch
distribution
outside
main.
of. Yeah,
It's a distribution main. It's not a service main. So yes.
yeah.
And then, sorry to go off.
Go
The
ahead.
other second question was, recommend having a survey done, and having a company come in to address your issue. We did that. So I had WRWA come in, they did the correlator test on the entire village on August 20th, 2024, and they couldn't find anything. They could come back. I tried to get somebody to come back in the winter. There's only 3 contractors that do it. They were booked solid. They couldn't do it. So we were going to call WRWA. Otherwise, they said, you can come, we'll give you the equipment and you can do it. Well, we don't have time to go. The correlator, if everybody doesn't know, a correlator operates that you get a unit. It's basically a sensory unit that listens for audible sound. You hook it to, you open up a gate in the road, you put a key on it, on the gate, and you attach a terminal to the end of that gate. Then you go down the street to another gate a block away, you put a key on it, you attach the terminal to the end of that attaches to this unit. Then you walk with headphones and you walk down the road and you put for lack of a better term, it looks like a toilet plunger, and you put it on the road above the main and you listen to the noise. And when it's loud, that means you have a leak. When it's quiet, that means you don't have any leak. The louder the leak or the louder the sound, the bigger the leak is. It takes time because you're taking 5 feet steps at a time. So it takes time. And we don't have that time. We tried contracting it out. It didn't work. As far as the contract,
What do you mean it didn't work? I mean, it came back in the summer with.
nothing. They couldn't find anything.
Funny that we're still.
We know that there's an issue.
Yeah, we were still losing water. So, but
You
they
think it's
couldn't
the-
find
you think it's the
anything.
hydrants? You think it's the hydrants?
No, that's their first step is they'll check the hydrants and then they check the mains.
Okay.
They kind of work their way from there.
Right,
But they didn't, they're the professionals and they said that they couldn't find anything drastic. that
Where do
they
you
heard.
think it's coming? If you had to guess,
And that's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking to just bring this up another time in your face or anything. You had to guess, where do you think we're losing the money? Is
I
that
think-
right at the start of
I
this
think
whole
they're little
shit?
tiny little streams from the gaskets that are on there. That's what I think.
I got you.
I think they're just rotting away or the gaskets are being pulled out
It's not
from the
necessarily
frost or something like that. And I think they're just moving in and out.
So it's not,
Jesus,
it's not to
that's what I
Dave's
think.
point that, the product still might be fine. It's, you can
Well-
have great product, but you're right, the gaskets are different than the pipe.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, and then to your question regarding the engineer, we had that too. That was something brought up by our president, Allison, in 2022. She wanted Baxter and Woodman, who was our engineering firm at that time, to provide this type of thing. It's called a pressure test. They provided that for us, and it's here. This is how they sectioned off the village and the goal of this is that you shut down gates strategically, and then by the engineering, they figure it out. And then you try to pressurize the system and see where, and to kind of like overload it to see where the issues are to try to diagnose and narrow it down. The problem was on that is because our system is so old and because it hasn't been maintained the way it was, in order to achieve that, you need to shut the gates down completely, meaning no water can pass through. And when they tried doing it, or they discussed with the people at the time in 22 to be able to do that, there was no 100% guarantee that they could shut the gates down where the engineers told them to, because the gates have to come down and shut off the water. And if they can't come down and shut off the water all the way because there's debris in there and a little groove in the bottom or whatever, and it can't shut it off completely, water passes through and it mimics a leak. And that's what you're trying to achieve, to find where it is and not find wrong information. So, I mean, I was always taught bad data is worse than no data. So then they scrapped that idea, saying that that's not going to work. That's not going to achieve the goal of what they want to do, because you can't guarantee a complete utter shutdown of that area. So they kind of scrapped that idea. So to answer your question, that was an option that they were going to do.
So the lack of fire hydrant maintenance, where you say it clears out the water, clears out the lines
For water quality.
for
yeah.
water quality, you think that also then has created what you sort of described, and not put words in your mouth if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, that there may then be debris in here that's built up.
Oh, I could show you pictures.
So
You don't want to see them, but I could show you pictures. And it has nothing to do with the age or the quality or the pipe or anything like that. But when you have an issue or an incident and you cut the pipe off, it's amazing what's inside there.
yeah,
It's just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Stalactites.
yeah.
That tight to the wall. They're all over the place inside that pipe. So the pipe isn't like a pipe.
Organic or first one?
It's just it's mineral
like you had in a
deposits
cave.
left over
Yeah.
from the treating of the water and it running through, and byproducts from what it's
Lime.
running through of, and it's just all that kind of stuff. So
And that stuff had there been regular flushing.
Yeah, you can do
Might
that.
have minimized
No,
some of that.
no,
I'm
not
just-
really.
Again, I'm just asking.
Uh,
I'm trying to be right.
no, because when you hydrant flush, realistically, you're only pulling in the lead coming from the main and maybe 10 to 20 feet
Okay.
outside of that. You're not taking
the whole.
sections.
Yeah.
If you want to do it the right way, you have
Use a
to,
brush.
yeah, if you want to do it the right way,
Yeah.
you have to do what they call water pigging.
Mhm.
And they basically send a bullet, which is the size of the main, and they run it through a fire hydrant and it goes in and they push it through the line and it pops out somewhere in the section over there. And as it's popping out, it's pushing all the sludge and all the ick out. So all that stuff comes out of that hydrant down the way. And it's, you can Google it and YouTube it. It's pretty gross.
We'll be getting
It's amazing
first
what's in there.
Osmosis system from my buddy this afternoon.
And then to answer your question regarding having a plan going forward and whether or not the mains should be addressed now or later or whatever. This is a map that we have for the water main incidents, as we call them. And as you can see, we have on 4 Mile Road, we have 9 incidents already. This is only good up to, this was done by Baxter and Woodman. So this was done in 2022, I believe. So we've had, I wrote it down, 11 incidents since 2022. So you can add 5 more to Lighthouse Drive in the blue section. And you can add a couple on Lighthouse Drive that we've had since this map was created. We've had one on 3 Mile Road since it was created, and a couple other sporadically. So based on what you were saying, as far as having a plan going forward and having information to better, I have an idea of what to replace. We have done that. And that's why 4 Mile Road was picked, because it does have 9 incidents on it already. And we picked this lighthouse to be the next stretch because that's had several on there. And the works are about El Dorado and Wind Point. So we have talked about it and we have discussed it, and it's not just throwing darts at the wall. And I don't mean to insinuate that that's what you meant, but
No,
we have discussed it and we have looked at it. And I felt that with the fact that this has already had 9 incidents recorded, plus the couple that I have since 22, and it was already picked to have a road done, putting a brand new road, using your money efficiently and wisely to replace the road based on the funding that we got from the county, putting it over a structure that was already in bad shape and expecting it to be better and not cut holes into our brand new road, which perception wise, in my opinion, would look bad. We felt we would go with that.
Scott, I had a question based on earlier, you said the test for the leaks, the sonic test, that's my vernacular.
Yeah.
Was done in the summer, and we kind of discussed if it had merit to do something like that in the winter, if it would give us some more information, or is that just throwing money?
No, it does. It's just that I couldn't get
I
anyone,
understand. I mean,
but
that was last.
everybody's trying to do that. Like everybody in the state is trying to do the same philosophy that
Do
you're
we keep
doing.
asking, or
We definitely can.
that's where I was coming from?
Yeah.
Should we? I mean, is that something
We could approach every
benefit
year.
from doing?
Yeah,
if we
get
can
on
get
the
done?
schedule early.
Yeah.
Yeah, but realize that, there's a lot of municipalities, there's a lot of
But could you?
utilities.
Out a year if you had to.
I don't know if they.
If you call up now and it's already booked, I get it. But if
Yeah.
you call up now for next year, is it already?
I don't know if they book out that far, but I can ask.
Well, I mean.
I can ask. I didn't.
We want to. Why don't you?
Yeah, I asked them.
No, I'm at the company. I do.
I think it was last early spring or something like that. I asked them if they could come out, and they said, we have this date and that's it. So I never asked about 25 and just tried to get them in here for 24.
I guess the encouragement I would make would be that we revisit that. If you think in your opinion, it has merit and we would benefit from it.
I definitely want to get the handle of the disparity under control, because
That's where I
having
think
the
we're coming
utility bludgeoning by losing 30% of our revenue before it even gets there, we're paying for it, whether we like it or not. And then before it gets to the point where it's reimbursed, we lose 30% of it. That's not good business sense. And like we've all learned, even from Ellers, from their presentation, the village and Travis has to work at a public type of way, but the utility has to operate as a business, as a private entity. So unfortunately, you got to make a profit. And in order to make a profit, gives you the surplus to take care of hydrants like this that need to be repaired, so you don't have to borrow for it, or you don't have to do that. The utility should be paying for that. That's what that's what you all pay for. Correct. That's what it should be. You're not out to, drive around in gold-plated water trucks. You're just trying to make your system good. And it's been, I don't want to get onto the whole
Travis,
financial side of it.
Is
but-
there like a referral to do that, to continue to press to get the winter?
No, I can just do that.
Okay, I didn't know if we needed any.
As part of the operations, I can do that.
Okay, so that's point is well taken.
And just real quick, so I apologize. PFIC in their budgeting, we're sort of talking to Travis since the last meeting this week of pushing some of these projects back. But one of my big ones is maybe we don't do the lighthouse speed, but we come around the corner and get it up to the guardrail, because of all the things there. So if you're
That's the
gonna get-
worst spot.
no doubt, no doubt. And it's also worst spot on the road. So we're walking before we can run. We obviously ran to this point. We got everything cataloged. We scared a lot of people, but now we're like, okay, let's take on what we can take on.
and all that. So just a heads up on that, as we all make decisions still going forward.
Okay, the only other, I appreciate that, the discussion was good. I think, I wanted to ask Scott. Yeah, you had in the packet, there was a Public Works Mutual Assistance Agreement. I just wanted you to comment on that if you would.
Yeah, that's a agreement that's being put together by Lorenzo Santos, I believe his name is, from the county. We had a meeting with Wind Point regarding emergency preparedness a couple months back, being held by Racine County, included a couple other local municipalities for their shared services for first responders and stuff like that. And it was suggested by Wind Point, having experience in another municipality, that having some type of an assistance program within the county. So if one particular village or municipality had an issue that was greater than what they could handle, that they would have the ability to reach out to other municipalities with whether it's their equipment that they needed or labor or manpower or whatever, no different than what everybody of the great county of Racine provided for Wind Point to take care of the wind event tragedy. We had Caledonia, Sturtevant, Mount Pleasant, Waterford in here to help us out because obviously we are limited in equipment and labor, and it was a lot to do. So it was greatly appreciated. So now they're going forth with having this type of program, and it's just going to be a meeting of the minds with all the representatives of each municipality to agree with it, because it's a financial aspect of it. You're basically taking your people and your equipment and taking it somewhere else and doing stuff in that, and you're still paying them. So
So
it involves that.
what do you think the resources were externally that came in to help us?
Chippers, trucks, backhoes, labor, manpower.
That would be big.
Yeah, we were able to clean everything up in 2 days,
Yeah.
including North Bay. So,
Can you I mean, what do you think that cost would be?
oh my goodness gracious.
Any
You
idea?
you did the disaster thing with all the people's labor costs. And
I can tell you the cost of like the storm event in total. It was
Yeah.
like $70,000.
Okay, and external support, some percentage?
Probably 40, well, I would say
It's even
20.
on the books.
20.
That donated, right?
It was donated time, yeah, except
And
for
so
the
this
county.
agreement kind of codifies that and says that we're all in it together and we're
Yeah.
gonna help out. And
Right.
So that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we covered that.
Yep.
And it isn't finalized yet, it's in
No,
process.
it's just starting to get going.
And so that's good. I'd like to move on to item 2, which is a discussion and possibly take action on the quote for the village's portion of Hunt Road.
You just have to take action on item 1 still. So whatever you want to do on 1,
Well, we had a discussion, I don't believe there's any
Yeah.
action that's
If there's
required.
any action.
just then to keep moving us forward, I guess then.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge basically that we discussed Dave's impact.
I'll second
Yeah,
that.
there's no real action.
I get he's got it.
Yeah.
Right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we appreciate the input. I mean, we're not always gonna be right, and even what we're doing might be 100% right, but gotta start somewhere.
I think it's a good thing.
Other
Got a
experts
plan?
to give us information.
And appreciate, we need involvement.
Yeah, you and Jane,
Yeah,
you are helping us
it's great.
clear our heads and see
We're
things.
thankful for it.
Yeah.
So did that satisfy? So I think the motion carried 2-0.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
So item 2, again, is,
Thanks, everybody.
Sure.
Thank everybody.
okay, thank you.
So I was trustee for 8 years. These issues are incredible to me. And something that sounds like you're in good hands.
Yeah.
And thank you as trustees for taking. the
We
time.
overlap as trustees.
Yes. So,
Thanks for your involvement.
Thank you both for coming out. Thanks for supporting
Take
us.
care.
Thanks.
Sorry, when the day comes, your tax bill and water bill goes up, but you'll know why. And feel free to tell your neighbors that we're doing good things now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Everybody should come to a meeting like this.
They should. Yes, you're right. Okay, thank you both. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
All right, So what is, I guess the best way to, this was handled at the PFIC recently. It's also, and it's a done thing. You want to just comment on it quickly?
Do we have to approve it on Public Works as well?
Just to acknowledge it again, just to make sure that you are aware that this project had happened on Hunt Club Road. The backstory is that the village is neglected to know that there was a private area that was considered private that's not anymore and it's public. So after further review with Eric and I, we determined that there's a section of the road. That's why Armin came and discussed that this portion is public. And so and he has mentioned previously that they've been paying for private services basically with Hunt Club Road to the end of it. So after coming to that, the village did Hunt Club and they stopped way beyond where they should have, or before they should have, and they should have continued on to the public side of it, and they didn't. So now here we are today where they've done it, and now because of neglect on the village's end, they are asking that we approve this. It was voted 3-0 unanimously at the PFIC level to approve it as well. So, but there was a talk of internally, there's a lot of these issues of private roads around the village, and so we are coming staff internally in a plan that will kind of help so that we know about these issues far in advance, and that the road gets approved by Public Works, sees the plans, and then moves it along as it meets our requirements as such. So we're moving forward as this was a learning curve for us because this is the first time in the village. And this has been for, I guess, decades that this road hasn't been fixed, that I've been told. So we just have to move on and fix our mistakes from the past like we do with everything else that we're finding out.
We didn't see it.
I remember when it was paved
Mhm.
years ago, and again, it stopped. This was the public, this was the private at the time, you know. And then Randy and Madsen was the guys that figured out where the boundary was, so.
Turns out you did it.
And if it's in a wrong spot,
Yeah.
we definitely stopped. We said it's private from here on out, so we definitely stopped at point.
Yeah, it was, the slurry coat was stopped probably about 50 feet past Wind Point Road, 50 feet north of it. And it actually goes for another 300 feet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was, so, I mean, where I saw the slurry coat stop, I assume that's where the private road started. I mean, why should I second guess?
It's not like you have time to review every map.
No, because you gotta go down to the county and you gotta pull all the plat surveys and everything else, so it just takes time.
Separately, we have a snowplow agreement that we go all through that.
No,
No.
only Wind Point Road we do. We do not have one with Hunt Club.
Okay, so it's Wind Point Road that has that.
Correct.
And then how far do we plow on this?
Up to the private port.
Right.
Now, what you thought.
Another
So-
300 feet.
Now we're gonna go a little farther, but
So that's the impact.
yeah,
Yeah.
Armin will be included on the plowing of the road.
I'm public.
So he's happy.
Yep.
And so do you leave a pile at the end of that the private contractors have to?
No,
How do you,
can't do that.
how do you get rid of it? Yeah, I'm just asking.
We have to back up, which we get complaints from the residents,
Sure.
but we have to back up onto the private portion of it, drop our plow at
And
the
go
private
forward.
public, and then plow forward, yeah. Or back drag it, one of the two, but we can't leave a pile in the middle of the road.
Correct. I just wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah.
So there's no perfect way to keep everybody happy in that situation.
The bill is handled by the finance.
And built in according to engineer standards or state statute standards that they don't have to service it.
So she knows that
She
they didn't
knows.
do it that way. What would it have cost them extra to do that?
A lot.
A lot more?
They got it for a song.
I was gonna say,
Heck of a deal.
this was really cheap.
They got it for a heck of a
How many?
They must know somebody.
Well, they did it at 3, I think. They did it at 3, however.
No, 3.5. 3.5.
So they said, but I walked it. There's no way they did it at 3.5.
Okay.
But what they should have done in order
Before
to make it handle, and I talked to Ari Smith about this before to get their approval, stamped approval, even though I knew that in order to handle a 55,000 pound garbage truck, that they needed to pulverize well within the base along with the HMA, which is a hot mix asphalt. They need to pulverize all that and mix it all together, regrade it, and then put hot mix on there. And they did not do that. They just ground off the hot mix, put the new stuff on. He's happy because it looks pretty, as I call painted black. It looks pretty, but it's in 5-7 years, it's going to be looking. They didn't do anything with the base, so it had potholes before. It's going to have potholes.
And the portion of it that we now are responsible for
Is
is
built that way too.
Yes. Okay, so we're all aware.
That's why we need to be aware of this. So they should have to pull a permit regardless of private or not. At least so we're aware of it, so we can have our people look at it to make sure it's submit a design, submit this, submit that. So it's to our standards.
I had to put blocky do my driveway because my buddy moved from Associated Bank. We did all the parking lots, and mine's I-94 depth. And because my buddy knew him, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'll call him up.
It won't crash.
But we had literally, but just so everyone knows, we literally had no choice.
I get it.
I mean, weren't responsible to
It was
really
done
let us
before
know.
we knew about it.
Contract was signed
Yeah,
before
I
we
got
knew
you.
anything that was
I
going
got
on.
All right, so these are one of these one-offs.
Going to look at the process going forward for private roads and stuff, right?
Yeah.
What would the motion be? then?
All right, so
Just to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the PFIC's decision to pay the $12,579.50 for the Club Road portion that the village owns.
Second.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure it's the financial as much as it's the actual mechanical part of it, the public works part of it. But yeah, you've already approved the financial part. Are we accepting the actual work done, which is what I think is within our domain?
There's no work.
I understand, but
I
are we
don't
happy
know.
about it? Do we want to be on record? I guess we're on record.
Well, I think
for
we're on
this
record
discussion.
that the village is gonna work for a process that
Yeah.
this won't
Yeah,
happen in
need
the
an
future.
ordinance to
Yeah.
address it.
So that can be.
I think the
thorough takeaway.
motion should deal with the fact that the work was done and completed.
All right, I'll amend the motion that not only was this approved by PFIC, but the work was done. It's not up to the standards that the village would normally do, and the village is going to work on making sure this doesn't happen again.
And we have a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
So the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
No problem. I get it. You stopped there. I was like, is he okay health-wise?
No, it's just that it's,
She's doing so quiet. I'm like,
Now, we heard that other thing.
I don't think, and it's,
Yeah,
well, none of us are getting any younger, so
we haven't solved the
if
problem.
I stop talking, you really better call 911.
so let's now go on to item 4, which is review and possibly take action on the contractor's qualifications.
I think we need 3.
3.
Oh. 3.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. 3, discussion and possibly take action on the 4-mile road construction start date.
Okay, so this is just for clarification, and I had the conversation with Ari Smith on Friday. Based on bids and sent advertising of bids and stuff like that, if we should go out for the start of the project, which is the water utility and the water replacement, going forth in winter gives the village a better opportunity for very good bids. Like there's a projection of how much they think it's going to cost, but depending on, contractors wanting to keep their people working and stuff like that, they may bid aggressively and we might get it for cheaper than what we would normally do it. I'm saying maybe. So there's a pretty good option for that. However, with that being said, it is understandable from this committee that there is a good chance that 4 Mile Road will not be very nice to drive on for about 6 to 7 months because of that. And as long as
Meaning
you're
you do
okay
the
with that.
water in the winter, which already stinks,
Yeah,
and then the water's done, and then when they can finally come in and do the asphalt, so you extend the.
because they might
this is
be
really
done.
gonna suck.
Yeah, they might be done in January with the water. But obviously, they're not gonna rip the road up and start the road in
May,
January.
till
They
May.
gotta wait till the frost comes out of the ground. They gotta wait for the plants to open and all that kind of stuff. So you, depending on how bad the spring is, and we don't know that, it could be June before they do that. And now that road, now you're only doing, for the water main, you're only doing like a quarter of the road of the eastbound lane that's gonna be affected for the most part.
So 3/4 is open, 1/4 is.
Sure, the westbound lane is gonna stay open, so it's not gonna really necessarily be excavated. However, there are connections to cross streets, intersections. There's service lines that are gonna go to houses that go across the street, so there'll be trenches. And if anybody's driven on Deep Woods, you kind of know, and that's paved,
Mhm.
you kind of know what that feeling's like driving down that road and what it could be. It's an inconvenience. It's not anything out of the ordinary that nobody else deals with in the state of Wisconsin or anywhere else. Construction happens. It is what it is. It's just letting you know that based on that start date, that would happen. Now, if we decided to go later and bid it for spring and have them come in, your bids are probably not going to be that as good.
Can you do a
Because-
dual bid system where they send it out and Rice Smith says bid the water piece as if it's winter and that, or would you just go?
I don't know if
winter, and if we don't like it, we go, and then we just do it all in this.
Well, you're gonna like it because I think the bids are gonna be nice. You just have to be okay with the inconvenience of gravel trenches in the road and driving.
And
or-
it's not gonna be fun for you plowing and people are
Well,
gonna say
we'll make
rocks,
do.
rocks are gonna end up my front yard.
Yeah, you're gonna get that. You're gonna
This
get
is what
that.
it is, though. I mean, this is building a road, right?
This is building a road. Or
And so do we want to pay more or less?
Or there's other options where you can pay more and instead of putting it all the way to the top of gravel, you can put it back as cold patch. Cold patch is temporary. It costs a lot of money, but it's a paved surface that goes across.
The
And
plow
it's,
tears that up.
plow tears that up pretty good too.
That's not a solution.
Or you can do a concrete cap. Put a concrete 1.5 inch cap over it, and that's nice and flat. You can do that in the winter, and that's not a big deal. However,
Gotta tear it out.
you got to tear it out, and the mills don't really like that stuff because you're mixing concrete with asphalt, and so everything comes at a cost. So keep the way it's planned.
I think our.
So they're
fiscal-
hypothetical, again, I mean, they've done this enough to go. Hypothetically, one time on a road in Waukesha, what I thought it was gonna be 2 million, ended up being 1.8 million. You know, I mean, like, so you're talking, what, 5% off, and then it might have been, it was 10%. We start to, we're talking $2 million, give or take. If we can save $300,000,
I'll just use it as an example. It's not going to happen everywhere.
I get it.
But when I built the road in New Berlin,
Okay.
New Berlin Road in Hales Corners, it was bid by the contract or by the engineer to come in at $1 million. That's no water, nothing. It's just road, but came in as a bid of, or an expectation quote of $1 million. It got bid because of whatever the or not. You can run into something like I had a job that we did and they didn't expect bedrock to be there. And it was, and now it just went up because they weren't expecting it. So you can get it both ways.
What do you think we should do? Winter?
Construction is construction. I hate to say it, but it's just, we've never done this before, right? This has never, ever been done like this. You've done a couple slurry coats, you've been inconvenienced for 2 days. The village. We haven't done this before, so it's gonna be a huge thing
But I mean,
for
this is-
residents to.
It is what it
figure
is.
out.
But we're not reinventing the wheel.
We're not. We're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
Every
we've all
municipality.
driven through it in other places. We
Yeah.
just have to drive
It's just
through
you
it.
do it one time,
And
and
I
people are
can't-
gonna go every day.
Let's go around the room. I mean, I like to, yeah, I'm sorry, sorry. Oh,
Well, I think we should go with the winter option.
From my standpoint, I can't sanction from a fiscal responsibility doing anything other than going with the October, November.
Yeah, dribble and then for 2 years.
So you're,
Yeah, right?
just a
And it's not
point,
gonna get any cheaper.
just a point clarification. You said January, they could be done with it if we
Yeah.
started in winter. I think you might be in better as an election season. You have possibly four elections next year. And if they can be done by January,
No, with the water.
with the
Not
water,
with the, not with the
I know,
whole
but
building.
like with the water,
Still gonna have the trenches.
yeah, but I mean, then they're not
You're not
working.
talking about the outcome of the election, you're talking about access,
Yeah,
egress
Yeah.
to the. polls.
I've been working on talking to everyone to find a different location and nobody wants to help us out.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you on a side note for that too, you know, I'm knock on wood, but if the winter has been like it has for the last 2-3 years, contractors don't necessarily have to wait until April or May to start. They could start in February and March, and the plants are gonna be like, well, heck yeah, let's open up, and they'll open up and we'll get it done even sooner. You can't guarantee that because you don't know what the winter is gonna be like, but I'm just saying, sometimes you have, 4 feet of frost in the ground and you gotta wait. And this past 2 years, I think there's only been like 6 inches. That's not a big deal. I'll rip and tear right through that. So there's all different kinds of factors involved. It's just whether or not you want to withstand the heat from residents or Travis, that they're sick and tired of driving and they're going to complain on that and this and that.
So
So
to Herb's point, and Carmen, I think agree is, I mean, if we save 200,000, that's, and I know it's water, but humor me for a second, that's 200,000 we throw somewhere else. That's a big
Well,
deal.
the money's
We're saving-
money.
The money's money.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna take it out of the
Yeah.
residents' hide
So
anyway.
fiduciary
Yeah.
responsibility.
200,
Yeah.
200 for your
Yeah.
The
hydrants.
idea is to save money.
Yeah, yeah, it is the same. Okay, no, I just,
Yeah.
Right.
So I'd like to make a motion that, we,
Well, a question, my wife was at finance, and there's some talk about this golf course.
Mhm.
And do we want, if they're gonna start work there next year, do we want that road?
Well,
we would prohibit them.
so we did talk about that at PFIC, and yeah, I don't want them driving on our new road.
Yeah, we would let them know that no trucking
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all.
And
yeah. they
staff
do
has
have-
been in touch with them on that
And
stuff.
they do know that, they gotta come in on 3 Mile.
Yeah.
We've been in touch, yeah.
Okay.
so I'd like to make a motion that we, accept, the 4 Mile Road construction start date in the October, November timeframe of 2025. Those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
So when are we gonna start writing checks to these folks? Because we gotta borrow. money.
Depends on the bid.
Okay.
That's a Travis world.
Okay. We haven't.
We'll work with Ellers. I mean, it's your, it really doesn't make a difference. It's your water is gonna be, your water borrow is gonna just be based on your revenue of your utility. So those payments that you're making right now are gonna just go, it's backed by the utility. So
But the first is gonna be geo debt though.
you're not, you're still not collecting taxes for that water borrow. It's still separate. It is a
No, I get it.
borrow, but like you're backing it with.
Yeah, it's gonna end up being reimbursed through there. I get it. But. I'm just saying, where are we getting the money? We're gonna have to borrow it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm also getting at.
Yeah.
How fast do we get Taylor's to help
It's
us?
coming in.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
It's
Because we do have a
it's kind of
general
a-
fund that has some money in
But it's just
it.
like,
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, we,
Periodic checks, and
No,
we have to get
it's,
that, that was my.
no.
Because that has, that. fund
once the
has to be
bid,
talked
once the
about.
bid comes in, and that's the final number you guys approve as a board, I can work with others and we can get the money like that.
Okay.
yeah.
So,
It'd be nice to know that we have the money.
But we
before.
We can't do anything until you approve the bid, and that's the price, then the price. So
Gotcha.
that's the final number.
Just know that it can come in over that and it can come in under that, just so you know for the borrow, so you're aware.
Okay.
Well, we are top of the dump, but I mean, that's the way the decisions are made.
For the bid, but you know, when they start getting with the project, if it's, once they get halfway
Oh,
through, it
sure.
can come in less, like I was describing, or you can run into something you weren't anticipating and it come into more, you know, that's over below your borrow. And so, you know, too, when it comes to payment of the contractors, it all depends on the contractor. So I've been involved where contractors who general it, they want to get paid every month. Or they want to get paid quarterly of the project, or they're like, I don't want to see, I'm not going to submit an invoice to you until the project's done. And then you just get paid one. Everybody's different. It all depends on how big they are and how much money they carry and whether they can pay their people or not.
So now again, that's all I was getting at. Whether
It depends on who bids.
Okay, good to know. So yeah,
Okay, now we're on 4, which is review and possibly take action on contractors' pre-qualifications. So there's this whole chapter. It's in the materials. You want to address?
Yeah, so we don't have anything like this in our code. It's highly I encourage you to do it big time. Our lawyer was a little hesitant and against it, asking why we want it at first, but I was gonna say something, but I couldn't remember the road, but Carmen said the road. And that is why everybody is going to this language in their
MM.
code, is
Oh,
because of MM
yeah.
and Cornerstone that was doing that project, that they weren't qualified and all the headaches they went through. And I am actually hearing that Sturtevant is going through that right now because of a substandard contractor that didn't have the funds, didn't have the ability, and they're dealing with that now.
They were the
So-
lowest bidder and so had to be chosen.
Correct.
This allows you to block that.
Well, it allows, so what it does is the pre-qualification standards allows them to submit their qualifications to get on a list before the bid goes out. So you know who's bidding on it and whether or not they're on your list. And if they're not on your list and they bid, well, then they need to submit their qualifications before the bid gets open. So they know, so we know,
If they're qualified.
yeah, that they can actually do the
And
job.
if they're in the not qualified pot, the bids are open, but they're rejected
Correct.
out of hand.
They
They don't
can
even
be.
Yeah, if they're not qualified, you don't even hope.
You
Yeah,
don't even open it. I just wanted.
yeah, depending on how it works, but
Is
yeah.
that way, they aren't even opened. Okay. So this is boilerplate.
Eric's done reviewing it and he's got it ready to go for the board meeting. So
Yeah.
as long as
He's got
you're
the-
fine with this
The
language,
resolution, right?
he's put it in his language
Yeah.
and he's ready to put it into the code book. So
Okay.
that's following your recommendation to the board on this.
So I'll make a motion that we move forward with adding contractor pre-qualifications into the ordinance.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Okay, so number 5 on the list is review and possibly take action on insurance requirements. In the packet, there's an insurance checklist. And so, again,
That is just your standard stuff for contractors to make sure that they're fully qualified and insured for anything that should happen. Some people get a little irritated by some of their insurance requirements that they have to up, but it is what it
Are
is.
you, or is it Ari Smith that would then review the insurance to make sure?
R&R,
That's the
R-
lawyer, yeah. Or
R&R,
the- our insurance.
R&R. will
and they
review
reviewed
the
it. They gave Scott
On our behalf, okay.
a recommendation and
Okay.
we'll just attach it to the.
Scope of the project, here's what they sent us.
Here's what
I'll
you-
give us thumbs up, thumbs
Yeah,
down.
so in order to bid, you
Sure.
have to have these
Gotcha,
minimums.
okay.
Yeah,
I just want to know who's checking, that's all.
who developed the checklist? Is it inclusive? I mean, we're happy with the checklist.
I think that was Eric.
I'm sorry.
That was Eric. the lawyer.
Attorney,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's the
so
one that did the
that's the
checklist.
basis of it.
Yeah.
And so,
assuming he's done it.
any other
Copied this from other. municipalities.
discussion on this then?
No.
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the insurance requirements. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Item 6 on the list is review and possibly take action on the resolution rebidding.
That is drawn up by Attorney Larson also, and that's basically put into our code for us taking the lowest qualified bidder. That's basically saying that that's what you'll do.
So this doesn't come into play until you like get to the bidding process. So I guess it's just for you to realize like you're fine with this language, and when the board review it, you and the board reviews it, you.
So are we pigeonholed into taking the lowest then when we pass this?
The most, but the lowest qualified one. So that this was, once you clear out the field of those bidders, then
I don't think statewide that you're obligated to
Yeah,
take the
you are.
lowest. Are you? I thought
it's state law, you take the required lowest bidder.
But
But that's why you're
That's why pre-qualified.
Yeah.
so that gets rid of your people that can't bid on it though.
Gotcha, yeah.
But by
So
state
it's not
law,
discretionary, you can't.
Well, I think there is to a certain extent, because I think if you have any kind of knowledge or bad dealings with that particular contractor, there's things that you can do to not have to take them or something.
Well, in the
I
bid
just heard of
language,
people doing that.
usually in the big language, they'll have like these requirements, you have to have this,
Yeah.
this, and this.
Yeah, like this amount of asphalt depth, this kind of.
Or
quality
background to
mix.
prove that you can get to
The only reason I
that.
say that is we've all gone into Racine, right? And that asphalt road on Main Street, when you hit, we've all driven it, Melvin to Gould.
Never did it right.
Oh, my Lord. I mean, they did that within 2-3 years. It was bad. I mean, that talk about keeping us up at night, other stuff. If we get a contractor who comes in the lowest and does that year, this village can't afford that kind of
Yeah, but
mistake.
there's
That's what I'm getting at.
I don't wanna, I don't know who is doing that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But you have project managers and you have people that are out there, construction management that's out there making sure that is not happening.
And
So I don't
maybe
know who
the
is
city
doing
has
that.
their own- the
Is
city has
Larry
their own-
Smith our construction manager on this?
Yes.
So
The
they'll
city-
be, their eyes will be on.
Yeah, and
Every
the
day.
city has their own crews. They do some of that, I think.
They
So
have
maybe,
internal engineering. I mean,
yeah,
they
so
have their
maybe they
departments.
did just a bad job in that section, but
They
it was
Affected
several
times.
horrible. Oh my God. I'm so glad it's cement.
How many times has it been done in 40 years?
I'm glad it's cement now, anyway. So that's the only thing I wanted to get with
Oh,
taking the lowest bidder and.
It's cement.
Yeah, as long as they're qualified, I think you have to.
And that
But-
ordinance, yeah, that,
But the construction management, like when we go through independent, they have a person on site every day, all day.
Yeah.
Racine maybe shows up every they're not sitting out there all day, so contractors get away with stuff, so
Okay.
it just.
All right.
it-
Yeah, as long as we
we're-
have
we're
quality
sitting better.
management, you gotta have eyes on the job.
We'll be sitting better. That won't
All right.
happen.
That's all I wanted.
They'll reject it and make them redo it again and not let them keep it, so.
I mean, they gotta, the action's gotta be right. The list's gotta be right.
Yeah.
It's-
The mix itself has to be right.
Yeah. So I think I'd like to make a motion that we accept the resolution awarding project to the lowest responsible bidder.
Is that what that means by?
Is that what it means, or just means,
What's the?
That's
does it
the,
just mean we're gonna accept it, adding the
I
resolution?
think it's what it says on the heading for the resolution, right? The resolution
Yeah, it does,
awarding
yeah, yeah.
Responsive.
Yeah.
to the lowest responsible bidder.
that's the qualified. I mean, that's the other language for qualified,
Pretty much.
pre-qualified,
Yeah.
I believe.
So I'll second.
But again, they have to be responsive to the Ts and Cs of the package.
Yeah.
They may be qualified, but they're not, we're only gonna do 2 inches instead of 4.
as
Right.
Dave mentioned, you can't even take the ones that aren't qualified, so you'll
Yeah.
sweep those out, and then you'll take the lowest one out of the ones that are
Okay.
qualified.
Okay, well, I made it, I seconded the motion.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. So item 7 is review and possibly take action on Wind Point Standard supplemental conditions.
This also is from the lawyer. It's his little add-on to our existing or to what you already adopted for the qualifications, but it just goes into more detail and hitting certain things to make sure that they're good. I'm not gonna go through each one of them individually, but you can read and see that there's certain requirements by the contractor and by the way their operations, by the way they install it, what our expectations are. They kind of get into more deep dive of that. And I think it's a good thing to have, at least to lean on.
And
a
all
little
of
bit.
these things we're passing are gonna be out to these companies so they know.
Yeah, it'll be part of the bid
Good
packet.
packet. Okay,
Yes.
I'm just making sure, because it's one to have it, it's nothing to.
hand it over to them and say, oh, by the way, make sure you.
So-
guys get
So
all
there'll be
the-"
three ways to bid it, or we bid it in 3 ways. So you bid it and you advertise it in the Racine Journal Times. You advertise it on the Daily Reporter, which is like a construction paper that all the contractors do.
Okay.
And then we will also do it online with Quest. And that packet that they provide will, for the scope of the job and what the job is all about, will have all the stuff at the end for them to go through, and they basically have to sign and agree with it.
Okay, sounds good. I'll make a motion that we add the Wind Point standard supplemental conditions that was drafted into village ordinance.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries 3-0. Just a point of clarification, these conditions do go into the ordinance, or do they stand like they are?
They don't go in the ordinance.
Okay.
They just go in the bid packet, and we can put them on under Public Works is on the website. So if people are looking to bid on a project in the future, they can see these.
Yeah, because it's not just for roads.
No, I had
This is for everything
So should
that
I
project wise.
should I amend it since it doesn't technically become part of the ordinance? Or should I amend it to strike ordinance and just?
To accept, yeah, just to
Accept it.
accept the 1 point supplementary condition.
All right, so accepting the point standard supplemental conditions. Take out the ordinance. All right, thank you.
Okay, so we're good?
Yep.
Okay. And then the last item is review and possibly take action on the snowplow agreement proposal from North Bay. Would you like to comment on?
Sure, because I was approached and contacted by Paul Schrader, who is their trustee, Public Works trustee in North Bay. He called me on a Saturday or Friday and he said, hey, just want to let you know that North Bay had a meeting and we all approved for Wind Point to take over snowplow operations for North Bay. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't know where that came from, but and he said he just want to let us know and wanted to know what we wanted to put together as far as costs and stuff like that. I'm like, kind of hold on a second. It's not that easy. Talked about it with Travis, and kind of Travis became involved and said, we're not doing anything until they provide an agreement of some sort that's drawn up by, he gave a suggestion of a company that they could use to come up with something, because we're not gonna handle that agreement part. We're not gonna spend money to do that. So I notified Schrader to come up with some sort of an agreement. I haven't seen it yet, but Dory's been in contact with Travis regarding this too, so.
And I said to her point, I said, before you do anything, I'll get the appetite of what the board is looking to do. And if you really want to do this before you tell them to go spend the money. So finance committee didn't like the idea of it. So
It was a 3-0.
they didn't like the money. They didn't like the money portion of the kind of it'd be a deal for kind of a just not like a you're not making any money. So like I said, your point is here is you want to agree to extend your public works staff more to a different surrounding area with only 2 guys. So
I mean, is there any difficulty getting that to do that?
No,
I would stay away from it.
there isn't, but there's no benefit to the
Time and
village
materials,
whatsoever.
it's depreciation, wear and tear on the.
Yeah,
equipment.
I mean, so even if you make
It's a
a slight,
lose, isn't it?
I mean, even if you make a slight profit on the hourly because they're paying as if they would pay a commercial person whatever they propose, you're right. And then here's the other thing. What if one of them is out for whatever reason? What if one of them happens to, take a vacation and we get a storm that was leaving in there and they're like, oh geez, I was trying to sneak up north, and the other one, and then they're complaining over there, you're not over there. And then when they're over there, the people over here are complaining, well, where are they? I've never seen them over there before. You're right, there's no
I would-
positive to this.
I would
To
say,
them it is, to us it's not.
I would say that is true. I would say that this would be sort of like a shared services kind of a deal, just on a more repetitive basis. The only thing that I think that would benefit the village of Wind Point is by having the shared services portion of it. If anything needed to be purchased to provide that service for North Bay and Wind Point, it should, and that would be spelled out in the agreement, that should be split in half. So if you ever had to buy a snowplow, you're only paying half. If you ever had to buy a truck, you're only paying half. That would all be part of the agreement that would be
We
done.
have done all those things And we've paid the bill. The village, there are assets right now that they're gonna benefit from.
Correct, but I'm saying like repair,
Going
replace it.
forward, you want to
Yeah.
get an agreement.
Yeah.
I guess, and I understand, and I'm just saying the problem I have with it is it doesn't address the fact of the investment the village has made that in assets that are gonna lose value because of
We
wear
don't
and tear.
have the time.
That is true.
We really don't have the time.
We, with everything we've learned today and all the skills that, and reports Scott's talking about, we're on the borderline of having to address getting a third DPW person possibly, not just a summer person. Because he might be wrapped up in so many projects, so
He already is
here, I know he is.
I think
know
this
he
is,
I know he is.
beyond our capability. or-
I'll be honest, it would probably take like an hour to do it.
But that's
So we're
being
here
outside, right?
3 hours to plow the
can't make
village,
any
it would
money.
be another hour.
If we could make money and that could go into. a
Totally
fund,
different. Yes.
Then I would address this in a different light.
And that didn't come up, no offense, we all, depending on the discussions go, you didn't mention, hey, the other day, if you ever say they'd have to pay me for half a plow or whatever. And again, it's just how the conversation flows, so I'm not saying.
They would have, I'll just
But-
say, that's a suggestion,
would
they
be-
may not agree
But
with
that would
that.
be the only suggestion that I could buy into, is what you just mentioned, is, oh, okay, you wanna pay half our plow, and they're like, well, wait a minute, we're not happy. Hey, wear and tear,
We're
man.
5% of your streets, why should we pay for half the plot?
Correct.
Yeah,
They
well,
might come
Yeah,
back,
I'm over there. I
well,
they might.
yeah,
come
no,
back.
I get it, yeah, no.
Or
that's true, too.
a $300,000 truck, why are we paying $150,000 for it?
True.
But yeah, that's the only benefit that I can see that you
How
can get
how
out
many
of
services do we provide over there?
DPW.
DPW?
Anytime they need anything done, they contact us and we go do it.
Because I haven't been on this committee before, I'm on. the
So
planning
technically,
side.
we're kind of
Exactly,
doing,
I'm not sitting here hearing
I think
stories.
that's why they said it, but we're kind of doing that already. I'm not trying to sway the decision. I'm just giving you information, but we have the agreement already that we will go take care of DPW projects when asked for us to go over and
And how
do
is
it.
that done? Do they submit a request and there's a budget for it, or we submit a bill?
We submit a bill that we are paid based off of our rates and FEMA rates for the equipment that we need to.
So
do
they're
the job.
figuring this is sort of just the same thing.
I think so. I think that's the way they want to interpret it to be, but that's just a little bit more above and beyond. But, like we cut their hill for their park so they could watch the fireworks better. We did that.
What,
We do tree trimming. We did that earlier this year for them.
are they having trouble getting reliable contractors? Is that why they've turned to us?
I don't think they're pleased with it.
Probably not, but
And I'll be honest, it's a private company that are looking out to make money and we're just generally cheaper.
Who is full blown Smith?
That's probably the company they had
So
last
this
year
is
that did it.
the agreement
That's a
they have
sample
in
of
place.
what they required,
Yeah.
which isn't that far fetched, but
So this is not what they were proposing to us, but. it's an
no,
example.
that's just a sample of what they had their contractor do last year that I'm assuming their expectations would be for us if we were to do it.
We have a bad snowstorm, a snow year, and, you guys already got a lot of work. That's not gonna help.
That is true.
Help your mental, thing there. And we'd like to keep.
We're
it around.
neighbors, but I don't think it's our problem.
Well, and again, if they're over there plowing all the time, and this is worst case scenario, and also these guys go, "Huh, I don't need to be here, I don't want that to be the tipping thing. I'd rather have them go, hey, I take care of you guys, I go home to my family, at 3 in the morning, and I try to get some sleep because I gotta be back here at 6.
You guys
know?
were nice and you took care of the wind event for them.
You're nice.
I do what I'm told.
It happened so fast that I was out of the country that next day. After I was bailing my sump pump, so I don't know what you guys all agreed upon. And again, I don't think I had my first meeting yet on the committee, so I don't know who authorized what. It was nice of
Nice.
whoever did it.
Well, it's a joint effort from all the
Gotcha.
communities helping out, so it was us and Mount Pleasant.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that we do not engage North Bay with a snowplow agreement at this point in time.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. And so that just gets communicated back by.
yeah, I'll let Dory
Are they
know.
gonna flip out and do that one for
No.
other things?
Um,
The only other choice is what shared services, don't you, was it you that told me you had to share a border with somebody
Yeah.
that these shared services?
no, to annex in.
Oh, the annex in.
Yeah. So refers to what what do you want, what needs to go to the board?
Uh,
Is it just the
the
contractor pre-qualification or does,
Hunt Club Road, the
Yeah.
construction start date, and well, basically 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, sorry, 2 through 7. Yeah.
it's already gonna be an awful board meeting.
Well, I don't think it would go pretty fast.
It was a good board meeting
Good.
last month. and you didn't have
What do you mean? I already been told that 40 people are gonna come next Thursday, so. It's a different conversation, but
Is there a way to move through business? In how you set up the agenda so that that's efficiently taken care of? First, or,
40 people for public comment.
oh, so you think it's gonna be there right up front?
So
When there's talks that someone might let the public comment go longer than 3 minutes.
Well, you have to.
But we can motion
Put it on
to
the
close
clock.
all this and
yeah, let's motion. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second the motion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Well, thank you very much.
You would stop.